50, 60, 80 minutes. That'll be wonderful because the people who are going to be watching us on different medias, YouTube, they deserve our attention, and they deserve to be 100%. They deserve 100% focus because it's a very important topic, and we're going to be making snippets of it and then distributing across different media. So thank you so much, guys, for coming over. I think we'll start with a quick round of introduction. 1 minute introduction, 1.5 minute introduction. We're going to start with Ankita because Ankita joined first. She was the first person to come on the call. So Ankita, over to you.
Hello, everyone. Myself, Ankita Sambyal, right now coordinating from the beautiful city of Chandigarh. And I am a lawyer. I did my law school from RGNUL in 2012 pass out. Then I joined the Supreme Court, worked with ex-Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, and then I started my litigation side with Mr. Sareen in Punjab Haryana High Court. And in 2017, I went to Singapore to pursue my master's in NUS, and then where I did my intellectual property and technology law as my master's. There was that was the time when I got exposed towards startups and fintech. While I was pursuing my master's, I worked with 3 startups there pro bono because I wanted to know in and out of this business completely. Then there was a program to settle down there, but somehow I came back and thought, opening an organization here, making a bridge between legal and fintech world together, so that the startups, because we have very, very young entrepreneurs, we have people who have brilliant ideas, but they don't have direction. They land up to wrong, I can say, contractual obligations or other issues, or how to represent themselves in front of the VCs. So this is how I came up with Vidhanik, a startup incubator, which we launched last year. And it's been 1 year now. And today we are on the approximately 10 projects we are doing from the different sectors. We are working on agri-tech, we are working on blockchain, we are working on DAO, we are working on exchange, we are working, the first project is soon is going to come from the film industry for the fractionalization and decentralizing the finances on the blockchain, and various other projects, which includes MSME also. So yes, this is my journey, and we are sitting here. Soon by next year, within 2 years, we are opening different branches. Our first target is Bangalore next year. So yes, this is about Anjana Legal and Tech and Vidhanik, as I'm the founder for both of them.
Wonderful, wonderful. Ankita doing a great job of combining, of helping startups and making them talk to lawyers. The lawyers can help them give directions. When lawyers are helping startups, they will definitely be generating a lot of employment, doing a great job to the mankind and to the world. Thank you so much for coming to the panel. Thank you again. Over to you, Abhinav. If you can give a short introduction of yourself.
Hello, everyone. Very good morning to all. First of all, I would like to congratulate the Indian Lawyers Association and Navneet sir for coming up with such a wonderful topic, because a kind of topic like this, it exists in our consciousness, but we never really discuss out in the open. So that's the very first big thing. Talking about myself, I am currently an assistant professor of law with Nirma University, Ahmedabad. I have done my undergraduate graduation from Amity University, followed by my LLM in International Law from NUJS Kolkata. I am currently doing my PhD, and it's my final year of my PhD with the National Law University, Jabalpur. And I have done my initial years of education were with a couple of law firms in Delhi. I've also worked briefly with international organizations like ALCO, where I have learned about the intricacies of international law, international relations, etc. And for the past 4 years, I am with academics and research, and I'm trying my best to promote the practices of international law, environmental law, and energy law in India, and training the students for a good life, for a good corporate and academic life ahead. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Abhinav. You're doing a great job as a teacher. Thank you for coming to the panel. Pallavi, over to you.
Hi, thanks so much for having me here. I don't have such a glorious introduction to give, but I'm an advocate on record in Supreme Court. I'm primarily a litigating lawyer. I used to be an investment banker in a different lifetime, but litigation is something that sort of caught up with me, and I've been a hardcore litigating lawyer ever since. I primarily practice in Supreme Court. However, there is also alternate dispute resolution, arbitration, mediation, etc., and also different tribunals that I practice into. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Wonderful. Palvi, you know,
How
working
do
in
you-
Supreme Court, it's already glorious. Yes, Navneet.
How do you win this 20 under 20, whatever you won? How do you win that?
I actually did, yeah. That was a 40 under 40. Now that I'm becoming 40, I thought at least one 40 under 40 award should come my way. So therefore, now you know my age also. So I think I should just keep my mouth shut now.
That's why I said 20 and not get into trouble and utter the word 40.
I love that joke. Your sense of humor, I mean, since the time that we've joined the session is amazing. So I think Saturday for us is going to be rocking because you'll be there.
Awesome.
Yes, Navneet, you want to take it forward?
Um,
We have some more introductions to go. Jessna,
Oh,
if you
we
can
do?
introduce yourself. Yeah.
okay. You want me to introduce myself?
Yes, you can.
No, okay, no need. We'll do it later if we have time. So Abhinav, what is this 19G of the Constitution that says there shall be no restraint on trade? And the Britishers left India 75 years ago.
Right.
The rest of India is free except for lawyers.
Except for lawyers.
We can't advertise. Like, what's the deal? We're still in prison.
We are still in prison, sir, and see the hilarity of the situation that the UK has in itself changed its laws. So they embedded upon us, they imposed upon us this law that you cannot advertise, and we still take lots of inspiration from them when we talk about Rule 36 of the BCI rules. But if we see few of the things that have already been added in the UK, they have perfectly allowed the advertisement, although everything comes with a caveat. But we are somewhere in the middle where we are not even allowing that caveat or making certain restrictions, but we have tried to put a blanket ban, which is problematic. So we need to learn from our masters, that is UK and even USA, because both of them have allowed it, like I said, with restrictions, with a caveat, with certain things. So I think we can even rephrase this particular statement, and we should say that how should we allow to be advertised? Because we know various judgments by the Supreme Court. We should be aware of one of the very famous judgments by Tata Yellow Pages versus MTNL. It was one of the judgments, in fact, which led us to that direction where we could have had the possibility of us, the lawyers, advertising it. But again, like most of the policies and the law that are left right in the middle of the implementation and adoption, this still remained an untraveled path. And I think we can very well travel in this direction and move towards this discussion and deliberation, where we can make a significant shift from our, the colonial mindset, which we still are having a part of. So yeah, I think again, I would like to, congratulate that we are coming up with this topic so that we can come up with not just the discussion, but also some outcome where we can be suggestive and recommend and give recommendations.
So where is the law that says you can't advertise?
Which can you repeat, sir?
Where is the law in India, in what code, that says lawyers cannot advertise?
Cannot advertise. It is Advocates Act essentially, and along with that, we have tried to interpret it in such a way that we have equated it with misconduct, even though there has been an amendment in 2008 which has given a partial green flag to us, to put our names on our website, law firm websites, to put our the basic details, but still it hasn't traveled the path of us really promoting ourselves in the trade and commerce business. So when we say commerce, when we say commercial speech, it should be there, although we again reiterate to Rule 36, but there have been restrictions. So Advocates Act.
Ankita, if the Advocates Act says that lawyers in India cannot advertise, then why doesn't somebody file a lawsuit and say that the Advocates Act is unconstitutional because it's in violation of Section 19G?
So basically, if I say that the cases were not filed, that will not be true, because cases were there. People went to the higher authority, Supreme Court, High Court, and even to their respective bar councils, association, and then to BCI. But one thing is very clear, because even if we see the bar council, if we see the bar associations, they're also producing directories. Our entire information is there. The picture is there, right? If I see certain rules were relaxed after 2000 judgment, which is VV Joshi versus Union of India. So after that, in 2008, the amendment came with the BCI, where they just said that you can, give your name, your number, your email ID, your picture. So that is the basic information. Then why it was made? Because there was something you have to relax, because all the bar councils were making the directories. People were having access to it. But we really need to understand one thing. We as a professionals, the law, we are protecting people, we are protecting their rights, we are not protecting, but we are becoming a bridge between the ultimate client, the citizen of India, and the institutions of India. But the point is that if we will not advertise what we are doing, how the people are going to come to know about their rights also, how they'll come to know about the judgments which are coming up. So if I say today a judgment of abortion, which is a very hot topic, is going on. If the media is not there, if we are not publishing, if we are not, the lawyers are not putting their, what they believe in, how this provision should be amended, or what is to be done, if females are not. So yes, we lawyers are a part of one profession, but we are also the citizens of India. We also have all the constitutional rights. We have constitutional right of doing trade. We have a constitutional right to speech. We have constitutional right for everything. But then again, my question, being on the panelist also, every time I also ask this question to myself and to my colleagues, why we cannot advertise? What is the harm of advertising?
So Amit, you're president of ILA. Time for a salt march. Why don't you send an email to a couple of 100,000 lawyers in India that on November 15, 2022, let's all put an ad in a newspaper just for the heck of it. What is somebody going to do with 200,000 ads?
It sounds like a plan. First of all, yeah, this is a very good plan. But I want to understand from all of you, who believes the lawyers should not advertise? You can raise your hand. The lawyers should not advertise. Yes. Okay, wonderful. Palvi, I'm with you, okay? I'm going to support you because there are too many people who are against us. So let me just take your side and be on your side. Tell me, why do you think lawyers should not advertise? What's the logic? Logic क्या है? क्यों नहीं करना advertise?
See, I think, one has to actually understand also where we're coming from. For me to sit in a glass office just now in South Delhi and then say that I should be advertising because I, of course, can afford to advertise. I cannot be compared to someone who's sitting probably in Mirzapur right now and who doesn't have the wherewithal to advertise. We still come from, we are still in a country where there is a huge, disparity between the lawyers themselves. As a practicing lawyer here, I also get matters where I'm getting paid nothing, in terms of fees. And then there are clients who pay you what you deserve to be paid. But, in smaller cities and smaller townships, as we call them, the municip courts, they cannot afford to advertise. So if, let's say, out of 100 people in a municip court, only one person is able to advertise, that person has an edge over every other person. So I think it's more to do with the fact that there should be some form of an equality. And the second part, I personally feel is that any cost that we incur on advertising is then going to be trickling down only to the litigants. And mind you, those litigants are not always, people who have money. A lot of them are still coming, selling off their, khet, etc. And then they come over, get the fees and pay. So for them to actually be able to afford court fees itself is such a huge thing. To think that then that they'll be able to afford that trickling down of the cost points that we will be incurring as far as advertising is concerned, I think that's wrong. Third, there are, I happen to be also part of the Supreme Court's Legal Services Committee where we We provide assistance to litigants in terms of doing their cases at a fraction of a cost. And I realized that, all of these people who are coming in, these are from middle income group or they are from the lower income group. They have very good understanding of their rights. What has happened is, especially during the lockdown, there are these YouTube channels which have come, which speak in their language also. They speak in English also, and they sometimes actually know law better than a lot of lawyers also. So I would not say that that information is not going to them. I think information in the day of social media has become readily available, and also lawyers, guilty as charged, are also, if not advertising or soliciting, they are spreading that knowledge to the litigants across the country. So I feel that advertising I can afford, someone else can afford, but a lot of us will not be able to afford. And I think that disparity should not be promoted, not in our profession at least. Sorry if I've rubbed on the wrong way, but yeah.
No, not at all. So yeah, a lot of great points. I totally respect that. Priyank, you want to counter that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I knew, of course, somebody would be saying this point, saying that not every lawyer can afford to do advertisement. That's correct. See, not everybody would love to or would want to advertise, but when you advertise something, you put your name out in the public, right? That okay, I'm Priyank, I'm doing these services. Now, before we touch this topic, I would just want to diverge a little bit and ask all of you a question. When we shop online, how many of us actually go and check the reviews, the star ratings, which is provided for each and every product or anything online, whatever we do we do that? If people can raise hand or provide comment saying yes, so that we'll know how do we shop online. Whether if you can enable everybody to say yes on the chat bot, yes or not on the chat, or at least raise hands, then you would know how people shop online. Anybody can participate and everybody can.
I think most people check the reviews before buying online, even if they're buying a small book, so they check the reviews.
Absolutely. Yeah. So as per studies, as per the research, all these marketing companies do, 95% of the buyers online, they look at for the reviews, the photographs, the genuineness of the product. They look at star ratings, 95% of them. 70% of those 95% people go and look at what other shoppers or the other buyers have commented about the product, about the genuineness of the quality of the product. And that filters down and helps people to understand whether this product is good quality or bad quality product. People go to movies after watching the reviews as well. In the similar fashion, if you have to, let's say, bring the topic back to the lawyers today, if you go to a lawyer who's sitting in, let's say, any court, and you get along with the matter which is not his specialty. For example, if somebody comes to me and say, there's a divorce matter, would you handle it? Personally, I would say no, because that's not my specialty, that's not my expertise. I would rather refer it to somebody else. But this case is not true always. A lot of lawyers take up their cases even though they are not expertised in this. And that leads to the pendency of the cases as well. That leads to extortion of money from the client as well, because the simple statement which every movie in India has also glorified, that India mein agar kuch case karna hai to tarikh pe tarikh to hona hi hai. So lawyers clearly say judge is not available, I am not available, the other counsel is not available. Let's take the next date and extort money from the client. So this way, the end consumer, the normal common people for which we are trying to, I mean, as an advocate, we have our duty towards the citizen, right? Towards the state, towards the country. And we are not fulfilling that. We are not standing true on that. Primarily because we know nobody's going to question why the case was delayed, why the pendency has been so much, because then you will say, look at any matter, no cases are getting closed. And I clearly do not agree with this point that we should not be advertising. See, fundamentally because the common people also have right to know whom lawyer to go. Right now, there is no mechanism where they can filter out. If I have to go to an IP lawyer, should I go to Priyank or not? Let's look at his track record. Let's look at what people have reviewed, what people have said about him. Right now, if you do not advertise, people cannot put out those messages, those reviews out. And that's why there is no filter mechanism. And that basically defeats the whole purpose. Now, Whether it is a financial capability of somebody to advertise or not, that's a different question altogether. But there has to be some mechanism where people can filter out other lawyers based upon their track record, their pendency of cases, their hunger,
Their reviews,
to
their
get the
reviews, their
judgment,
stars.
their reviews, their star ratings, all of that. Right now, we do not have it. And if you look at all these bar council regulations as well, the guidelines which they have given, all they have said is all the lawyers are allowed to put a small board outside their home, that too written, I mean, with a white background and written with a specific font in black color. That's it. So if everybody puts the same kind of board, do you think everybody should also be charged same? No, right? Per matter, per case, based upon the clients, we change our fees as well. So why not have that freedom so that we can advertise as well based upon our capability and based upon what kind of people you want to serve, right? If you
Sure.
So that's basically my take on
Great
this.
points. Great point. Great point. I think yes, totally valid. This is also valid. So everything looks valid. Okay. So Jalsana, you have a point to make. Yes, over to you.
Hi everyone. Firstly, congratulations to ILA for conducting a panel discussion on a topic that is evergreen as this. Firstly, I think when we talk about advertising for lawyers, I think it's important for us to understand at the backdrop of which this conversation has begun. I think the onset of banning lawyers from advertising stems from the fact that the profession of lawyering is a noble profession, and to that extent, they said that this was a rule that was that had come into being during the British period, and which was even prevalent during in the US and the UK. But they over time they did over with the rule, and we are still in India. We're still stuck with the same colonial rule. So now I personally believe that we first need to understand what constitutes advertising. There are different forms of advertising. One is comparative advertising, and another is advertising through information dissemination. Now, when you talk about information dissemination, you as a lawyer, as a practicing lawyer, are talking about are writing probably blog posts, writing articles, sharing information, and to that extent, you're probably setting up your profile, you're showcasing your thought leadership on a particular topic, which means that you're putting out the word and you're also indirectly showcasing that you have authority on a certain subject, which is also indirectly telling people largely that you have authority in a particular subject and they can approach you for something. So when you talk about advertising, you're also looking at personal branding. So on social media sites like LinkedIn, if you're putting out your thoughts on a particular topic, or if you're sharing your articles on something that you have written, on a practice area that you're actually engaging in on a daily basis, you're indirectly telling the entire public, that you are authoritative in a particular field. So to that extent, does knowledge dissemination is not seen as advertising in the real sense. So even if the rule says that you cannot advertise your services, I think it means that you cannot go around sharing your pamphlets and saying that, oh, this is what I do. So even if the rule subsists, even if the rule says that, even though the amended rule says that you can share your name, your qualifications, your basic details, your enrollment number, and all of that, you still can go about building your personal brand without having to actually invest in advertising per se.
Wonderful.
So, yeah,
Thank you,
Mema,
Jalsana. Thank you very much.
Mema, have you changed your mind that lawyers shouldn't be allowed to advertise, or are you okay now?
I think they should be allowed to advertise because there should be equality between upcoming new lawyers and the lawyers who are already in practice. Because I feel advertising is the only source of way of promoting, putting themselves out, the new advocates and small businesses. Whereas the big firms already have established clientage which can spread the word that this big firm is doing well, you should come to them. So I feel that allowing advertisement gives an opportunity for the market to evaluate, as Priyank said, that they can refer to the reviews and how they have done and accordingly decide where they want to invest their money. So I think advertisement should be allowed.
So Mema, I'm told that there are 19,506 cities in the United States, and all of them have yellow pages. And the single largest advertiser in all 19,500 city yellow pages is lawyers of any business. And more than likely the front cover and the back cover and the inside front and the back inside the four most expensive pages, more than likely it's going to be lawyers. So do you agree that one, by lawyers spending all this money on advertising on yellow pages and on internet and social media and newspapers and televisions, that one, information flow is happening, and second, money is being spent, which is creating jobs, and third, whichever lawyers are advertising, they're getting more clients, and by getting more clients, they're able to serve their clients better and maybe even reduce prices, and maybe have a better office and better employees and better equipment. So the question, I guess, is why doesn't the Bar Council of India get it?
I think they feel that maybe with advertisement it can be a way of extorting money from the clients, but they're not looking at the positive picture here, that if they do well, they have more clientage, and with that money which they bring in, they can help the clients and maybe offer pro bono services to the population which cannot afford legal services, because in India there's still a population which is still not aware of their legal rights. The income which these advocates get from their clients, they can use that to promote, advertise to this kind of population that you guys have a legal right and we are here to help you, to spread the word. So the Bar Council of India needs to look at this point as well, and not look at just the smaller picture and just being focused on the point that it's just to extort money and for their own personal use.
Ankita has her hand up.
So here, what Priyank said is the true picture of litigants. Basically, I'll just share one incident which personally happened when I opened my law firm. So on my, if you go to Anjana Legal and Tech Solution, you see the services. One service is already declared that we do pro bono cases. I've not seen usually law firms putting that we are doing pro bono. That is something which they do ethically, right? If we will, I'm earning 50 lakhs in a year, so I might do 2 pro bono. So that is a personal choice which people are making, but we need to make it as a habit. So people should know that even if you're approaching to the law firms or you're approaching to the people who have hefty fees, they're also providing you the services of pro bono. Similarly, what happened, a female came, she used to work in High Court parking lot on this contract basis. During the COVID times, they were kicked out from their jobs. Nobody was helping them, and on the contrary, she had a matrimonial dispute, due to which the female and the daughter was, they were actually on roads. They were sleeping on roads, and the husband was not taking them back. Then they went to a church. They took a shelter there. So this is what journey happened. And when they came to us after knowing, there's a firm which is doing it, and then I got to know that she has already paid 60,000 bucks to the lawyers. Now, if we are talking about, charging money from not the people who are not, capable of paying the fee, where is that? So here we really need to understand that we have to play on the ground. Litigants who are coming to the courts, the district courts, high courts, or supreme courts in the look of, lawyers, and their things should be heard. Even they're spending their money to reach to the courts. Then why shouldn't they don't get a platform where they can, decide which lawyer to approach, talk over a call, or have a free call service for half an hour to understand the matter, what is to be done, what is not to be done. So even they're paying charges from coming from interiors of village till high court or supreme court district courts. So there's like what Priyan said, it is absolutely right. There are lawyers who are taking all kind of cases. They're not taking as per to their specialization. So it could be the reason of making money. It could be a reason of making, a market monopoly, or there could be 110 reasons. Then I would like to ask one more question to all the panelists, and especially those who are, on the other side of it. Why High Court or Supreme Court, like Justice Chandrachud said, that, give your juniors a chance to argue the matter. Why High Court came with this statement, start paying your juniors well? Why they're coming out? Why they're saying this? Okay, so we are just saying during the COVID times, lot of lawyers left their profession. They went back to their villages. They joined Zomato, Swiggy. They were doing all labor jobs. If they were able to advertise, well, that could be a situation that they would have left their profession and now they're not able to come back. So there are certain realities we should talk about. We should stand for it, because these are the realities. Talking out on a Zoom call and saying what is right, what is wrong is easy. But what are the ground realities? That's why we lawyers have to come in front, because I think this profession is the ultimate beautiful profession, because we are the psychologists, we are the people who can speak, we are the people who can mention their things in front of the authorities and also help others to do that. So basically, what are my views? Yes, what Priyank said, people have a choice. People who want to advertise, let them advertise. People don't. So how this new generation lawyers who are doing fabulous, but they're not getting a chance in 5 years to even to argue a matter, because people don't trust them. People think they're just 5 year or 2 year, but they're doing much better than the people who have experience of 15, 20 years. So why can't they get a chance to come forward, showcase their services, what they're doing, and why can't they lead their life? Not expecting others to pay. So that is one of the point I wanted to add here.
So Amit, where is Amit? Amit, some guests, attendees have their hands up if you want to ask them.
Yes, may I speak?
Yes, Kamal. I think the rule
Yeah.
should be that if you want to ask a question, you have to turn on your video. Yeah, go ahead, Kamal.
Yeah. Actually, I'm practicing as a High Court lawyer in Allahabad High Court, UP. It's a very relevant topic. I think the original question was that whether a lawyer should advertise or not. And I think lawyers should not advertise, because the nature of legal practice is that we have to defend our clients from the practically speaking from the government. I mean, laws are there, and we should and there are now the legal practice is becoming commercialized when we are working for our commercial benefit our clients. These are the two different things, and for other purposes, I mean, if we are doing commercial practice, I mean, for banks, for any other, then they should be allowed. But if you are working and lawyer work as an access to the justice, then they should not be advertised. In brief, I think we should, if we divide it like that, then I think it will be more clear. That is my point.
Robin, do you agree with Kamal or you don't?
Hi, everybody. I'm a compliance consultant, legal compliance consultant. So I just wanted to brief that I am pro advertisement, And there are a couple of reasons I've listed out. This is a very interesting topic, and I was in a favor of this, and I'm glad that this has come up as a discussion today. There are around 52 attendees. We have around 7 to 8 lakh lawyers in India. So the first thing I want to throw to this forum is that how many law firms or lawyers are exactly advertising as on date? By advertisement, I mean to say that they are able to appoint some PR agencies or get some interviews inside the newspaper or magazines, probably get some interview on the TV channels, or do some advertisement through other ways. So my point is that, like some other attendants said, uh, we need to have a level playing field for the newcomers or the independent lawyers, where they have a lesser budget of
Robin, there's 10,000 other industries in the planet. What other industry has a level playing rule before they're allowed to advertise?
so
Why
level
discrimination against the lawyers? Do the car companies have a level playing field? Do the bicycle companies? Do the internet companies? Do the computer companies? Do the food companies? Why such discrimination against a group of people that are supposed to defend the constitutional rights of 1.4 billion people?
so that's
Why
what
level playing rules?
So that's where I'm saying, if we allow advertisement to all the lawyers, they all will be enabled to defend the constitution and the law of land in a better manner. So I have basically my own reasons, which I have listed it out. We live in a country where online gambling or a betting company is allowed to advertise and probably sponsor a ICC event. We live in a country where tobacco, gutka, pan, cigarette, bidi, all of these companies are allowed to do surrogate advertisement and nobody takes an action against them. But at the same time, we live in a country where lawyers who are doing a tremendous job of saving the constitution and the laws of the land, chartered accountants, company secretaries, doctors who are doing hard jobs, especially in the COVID, these professionals are not allowed to advertise. These professionals are restricted in one way or the other. So my point is here not to target any law firm or bigger law firms here. My point is that if a bigger firm is able to do it, let us enable all the professional in this area to advertise. And there can be a code of advertisement. Definitely there can be guidelines through which they can be allowed to advertise. And I feel that in the end, ultimately the litigant would be the winner in this scenario, where they'll be in a better they'll be having more knowledge about the legal professionals in India, and especially they will know whom to approach in case they have some legal trouble. So that's all I wanted to say.
So Robin, though, some of the most harmful things in the planet are samosas and all of the mithai shops and all of the colas and all of the fried chicken. They don't have a level playing field to advertise. Why the heck do lawyers need a level playing field? Most of us do good work for the society. Put advertisement rules and restrictions in fried chicken and all the mithai shops, anything that has sugar in it. Where are their advertising rules? What do you think, Pallavi?
So I'm the only one, I think, who's been defending her. But nonetheless, see, in India, it's traditionally been that all the professionals, not just lawyers, doctors, chartered accountants, company secretaries, nobody is allowed to advertise about their profession. And also traditionally, most of the litigants that I meet, and I meet quite a few of them from across the country, from across the divergent fields, because I practice not only in civil, criminal side, also in commercial as well. Fortunately, because I practice in Supreme Court, like Ankita said, that one can only be specialized in one area. It's not actually true for Supreme Court lawyers, because we tend to get all kinds of matters which are coming, and so therefore we, over a period of time, we gain that kind of an experience here. However, my understanding is that when a litigant actually comes, he will never come looking at an advertising. He will probably, Google us out. find out the judgments that have been reported in my name or the matters that I've appeared in. If I have appeared in similar matters, they will come and ask me questions. So if they are coming for, let's say, a 482 portion, he's going to ask me left, right, and center about Niharika construction and every single judgment that he would have been able to possibly Google out. Because see, in the highest court of the country, they have already done a huge, let's say they've gone through their first appeals and then they've come over. So they understand most of the law. Now, when we look at the lowest court, when we see, for instance, there's a bail application that needs to be filed on, let's say, a POXO matter in the lowest court of the country. Now, who is that person going to approach? That person is going to go and ask. Typically, everyone in their city would know who's the best criminal side lawyer or who's the best civil side lawyer. This I'm not talking only about Delhi, but I'm also talking about places like smaller towns. Let's say in any of the remote districts, they will always know who is at least a little genuine in terms of their lawyers. So they go. It's more of a word of mouth publicity. It is more of what I have been able to show. And I've been more than a decade old in this profession. I also am a first generation lawyer. I never had the opportunity of advertising or anything. It slowly built up, and a lot
Pallavi,
of people
of the
actually.
Pallavi, of the 1.5 million lawyers in India, the last person who needs to advertise is you, because if you Google Pallavi Pratap, there's 5 million pictures of you. There's page after page after page after page of your articles, your Facebook, your business world, your LinkedIn, your Facebook. It's endless.
Correct.
You're like the most famous lawyer in India.
And not a single PR agency ever. Thankfully, I think it was more consistency than anything else. And the lockdown obviously provided me that opportunity to have enough time on my hand to be able to write articles. Now, of course, it's been, since the time the courts have become physical, it's very, very difficult to even post anything on LinkedIn. The reason is that, when you're working, the problem with a lawyer is, like Ankita very rightly said, that, there are opportunities that are to be provided to junior counsels to argue. I've been more than a decade old in the profession, but still the clients come and they say that, we would want to engage a certain senior advocate to argue, and that, they would not want to, they would not want me to argue at that stage. There
So
are
Pallavi, we said that we won't let you ask a question till you turn the video on. So Ronak even went and shaved. Do you think we should let him ask a question now?
Ronak shaved?
Yeah, look at him.
I actually, for a minute, I thought there's some superstar sitting over there, like,
There you
from a
go.
movie.
Yeah.
Ronak, you have a question for me?
Oh my God. Thank you. That was I've never had an introduction better than this. So I actually wanted to answer Mr. Chug's question. Before that, let me just introduce myself. I'm Advocate Ronak Rane. I practice in Pune. I'm also a tech lawyer. I'm a founder of a edtech company in the blockchain space. So I'm a third generation lawyer. I've been a lawyer for the past 10 years. So I think this is a wonderful platform to address something like this, especially on a third Saturday when we don't have holidays for court. So, and seeing this strength, I think it definitely shows that this question is the need of the hour when we can see 53 lawyers sitting here. So to go ahead, first, let me answer Mr. Chug's question about why is the Bar Council of India not, taking cognizance of this fact. So I feel, sir, I feel the answer to this in one word and in the most blunt way is rigidity. So the reason why I'm saying this is that my grandfather, when he started his practice, he started it in the same way, the way I started. So after I graduate, I have to go and do a juniorship with somebody. I have to work at 4,000-5,000 rupees stipend. And then I have to build my own contacts, or probably steal some of my seniors' matters, or probably make a group of my friends and chal tu civil kar, main criminal karta hu, hum ye kuch karenge, but whatever work comes in, we'll take it in. So first and foremost, I think this traditional system of working needs to be changed. Then let us get to the question of advertising. So what needs to be changed, in my opinion, is I have seen my grandfather arguing, my father arguing. Today I am arguing before the courts in Pune, Bombay. So I think we should start having specializations the way doctors have, right? So there's an MBBS and then there is an MD. So everybody should be an MBBS. All LLBs should be an MBBS, and then you specialize in one of the spaces that you want to do, right? I think that's one. So that itself will eradicate a lot of false advertising, saying that say I'm a civil lawyer, I'll still advertise I can do criminal, I can do this, I can do that, right? So something that addresses Prayank's question. Now the second thing that I feel should be in place is we need to have more young people in the bar councils, right? Because the way I look at it is most of the people who are running the show have also been through this system, and there comes the rigidity कि यार यही इसी तरीके से clients आते हैं, टिक के रहे तो एक दिन जरूर अच्छा वकील बनेगा. Why should that be a parameter, right? We can always have a parameter where it says that, okay, I'm a young guy and I'm an engineer and I've become a lawyer, so probably I'm better at arguing a mechanical subject or something like that before the court of law. My seniority should not be the criteria over my caliber. So I think the problem lies here is basically in the education space, where we first need to have some reforms over there, right? First, we need to get out a good army of exposed lawyers in the field who have a broader outlook at situations. Then we can go to the next topic of, say, advertisements. Now, I know for a fact that when I was practicing in the lockdowns, there were so many judges who were extremely adamant and rigid about not encouraging arguments virtually, because they were never exposed to something like that.
So
right?
Ronak, in early 1970s till 1970, US didn't allow lawyer advertising either. So there's a young guy like you, good looking like you, John Bates in Phoenix, Arizona. He put an ad in a newspaper, Jabardasti, just for the heck of it. He knew he was going to get into trouble, but he put an ad. The State Bar of Arizona disbarred him and said you can't practice law anymore. So he filed a lawsuit that what happened to freedom of speech and restraint of trade. I'm a lawyer. I should be allowed to tell people that I'm a lawyer, right? So the lower court, he won. Then the appeals court in Arizona ruled in favor of the Bar Council, the State Bar of Arizona, and then he filed a lawsuit in Supreme Court. And finally, the Supreme Court said that this is nonsense. We can't believe that a state is not allowing lawyers to advertise. It's certainly freedom of speech, and lawyers should be able to allowed to advertise. One Supreme Court decision in the mid 70s, it took about 4 years, but the guy took the risk, and
but at the same time, I
years.
would like to take your attention to the fact that you see the kind of ads that America is running, right? So the ads in America says that Advocate Ronak Rane secured $100 million dollars worth of reliefs for my clients, right? So this is the kind of advertising that they're promoting. So ask yourself, is this the kind of advertising you want lawyers to do in India?
If the advertisement is true, why would you deny freedom of speech to that lawyer?
How do you quantify a divorce in monetary terms? How do you quantify a relief of child custody in monetary terms? So that's the reason what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, 99% of those ads that have dollar terms are actually accurate, because anybody on the street can file a lawsuit for false advertising. So the lawyers are very careful. It's tricky ways of saying things, but it also makes the population smarter that, hey, don't listen to anybody and everybody. You have to get smart.
So there needs to be a parallel industry of legal insurance. There needs to be a parallel industry of, so I think the whole ecosystem should develop. My view on the entire thing is that education, finance, outlook, rigidity, everything should develop. It's not just advertising that we should fight for. We should fight for everything together.
I think, Ronak, the issue is that we start thinking about phase 2 and phase 3 and phase 4. The simple question is only one sentence. For the Bar Council to say lawyers cannot advertise, is that law a restraint of trade, and is that law unconstitutional?
No,
If
no.
it is unconstitutional, then that law needs to go away. Whatever happens thereafter is something the society needs to deal with it, and the society will grow up and deal with it. The only issue for us to decide is this violation of freedom of speech, and is this violation of restraint of trade? And if it is, then the government organizations are doing stuff that's unconstitutional. Do you agree, Ronak, that not being allowed to advertise is a violation of 19G of the Constitution?
I definitely feel so. So for that, let me just put it out straight. We should throw this argument of this being a noble profession out of the window. I think every profession is a noble profession, including a driver who drives a truck in the logistic industry or a person who sells alcohol. Every business and profession is a noble profession if you have a customer for it. So this is a baseless argument कि हम noble profession में इसलिए हम advertise नहीं करेंगे. So I think that should be thrown out of the window, and it is definitely a violation. Every business is a commercial activity. We are doing this to feed our stomachs and our families. So we need to do best business development for it in the best way possible.
So can I ask anyone, are temples and religious organizations in India, are they allowed to advertise? Have you ever seen a temple advertise?
Abhinav, do you have, since you're a professor of law, do you know temples and masjids and gurdwaras are allowed to advertise?
Although they are not allowed to, but we see that there are proper websites, there are proper donation channels through which they are collecting, seeking money.
They also have hoardings. They also have hoardings.
They also have hoardings,
right? A hoarding is an ad. So you know what?
Yes.
What happened to noble profession?
Correct.
They also have speakers.
I think religion is allowed to advertise in Constitution. There is a fundamental right, and there they can disseminate their religion and all. It is permitted in Constitution itself, I think.
Yeah. Right in religious practice, yes.
So one thing here, Abhinav, since you are a professor of law, all the lawyers, even Palvi, who is advocating that lawyers should not be allowed to advertise, she is also all over social media. She's on Facebook, LinkedIn, a lot of articles, a lot of content, and primarily it's not paid advertisement. She is disseminating information, quote unquote. But she's
I just got popular, Amit. That's all.
Yeah,
I just got
you are popular.
That's it.
You are very
absolutely
popular.
did not ever try to disseminate.
No.
I mean,
No,
I don't know. It just picked up like wildfire.
Yeah,
No,
because
I follow you. I follow you through LinkedIn. I do follow you. I don't know you personally, but yes, during the lockdown time, I've seen your posts, your writing and everything. So even I also got to know about you too, because we are working in the same fraternity. But yes, I follow you. I like your post every time, and I like the way when you portrayed that first generation lawyer, 3 siblings coming, and that picture of you, your sister and brother showing on the Supreme Court. So first of all, I don't think I'm not understanding one thing. What kind of advertisement people are talking about? What is this advertisement?
Paid ads.
Advertisement.
Paid ads. If it's not paid, it's allowed.
It is not paid. I just don't understand. If you go to the definition, if you are lawyers and we are going to the definition of the Consumer Code or BCI, or we are talking to Abhinav, that he's a professor of law, then we are talking about the definition, what it comes out, right? Then print media, videos, talking about you, your family, your profession, your success. Even now LinkedIn is full of, I went through this judgment, we got this order says this, that, everyone then has become the lawyer space, what I say. Lawyers, fintech, people who are serious about their business is a LinkedIn space. Otherwise, there are a lot of Twitter also. So being on Twitter or on a Facebook or on LinkedIn or Instagram, isn't it advertising? And that is not paid. That is free. And why we are denying this fact that the advertisement should not be given? We all are there. Our personal lives are there. Our professional lives are there. Even if when Ronak was talking about Mr. Ronak, I was just hearing him. He's also from the blockchain space. Lawyers building a bridge to the fintech is all about advertising. It's not necessary whether it is paid or not. I am one of the organizations. We do our advertising on my own. I have lawyer associates who are so brilliant, who are so smart that they know marketing in and out better than marketing people. So we now, the kind of a generation they're living in, the kind of talent we have, right? We should not suppress it by saying whether it should be there or it should not. Everyone is doing it, and we have to promote it, because we have kids, like if I go to National Law School or the other law schools, where people are coming with brilliant ideas. My team, my associates, they come with a pitch deck to me. That this is what ma'am we are thinking, and we should go ahead. Can we get funding for this or not? So now the generation we are in, or the environment we are in, and one more thing which I was very surprised to see, we still live in an era where there's no reach of internet everywhere in India, right? So there are people who are only understanding the radio speech. They don't know what is happening. If everyone knows that they have to go to the court website, pull out the judgments, find who is the lawyer, who is doing that, then why people are still suffering? Why we have so much ratios of pending litigations? Why we have so much of hatred in the society? Why the new crimes are coming up? Why every day when you just open in church, it's full of crime happening everywhere? If everyone is aware of what is happening. So for this, I believe that under the Constitution, this is our duty also. We are not ethical people. First of all, nobody is ethical. Ethical is a personal choice. What they are doing in their fields is a personal choice for them. I could be ethical in a different way. Priyank can be in a different way. Amit is doing in the education, so he thinks that ethical is something educating people, right? Mr. Navneet is so I'm just so impressed. I met sir for the first time, but I'm so impressed. His ethical thing is to make new generation aware of what is happening around. So everyone has different definitions for ethics, whether it's print media, everyone. But the point is that what Navneet sir said, if we have an advertisement for KFC, if we have advertisement for temples where there's crores and crores of rupees, income tax is going on, ED is going on, still they're advertising, and we lawyers who actually needs to reach to the roots of the society cannot advertise, then what is I think then what profession we are leading to? Then we are incomplete. Then our ethics are incomplete. I think then we are incomplete. We are not doing justice. Then we are not doing justice to the society.
Any country that says lawyers cannot advertise basically doesn't want justice in that country.
Exactly.
They don't want
That's
people to know the rights they have.
I think we should
discuss,
primarily we should discuss the function and function and purpose of advertisement. What advertisement does. Generally, we know.
Are you talking about standard sweets or Coca-Cola?
Yes, I mean, function of the advertisement is to generate demand, and they have a target customers. And here, if a lawyer advertise, whether lawyer has an ownership of laws, no. And what were they to whom they are targeting? That who are their customers? Victims of murder, victims of rape,
maybe there is a new law that would affect 1 million poor people in my city, and the poor people don't read Times of India, they don't have Facebook, they don't have television at home, but the government has said if you're poor, we'll give you 10,000 rupees, come on October 28th at India Gate. And I want all the poor people of Mumbai to know. And I create a leaflet and I put the name of my law firm and say, hey, call me, collect on my cell phone. I want to get you 10,000 and help society.
I think any person very well know that if government or anything, their conflict with law, they have to go to police and go to the court. And that is I think the best advertisement we have and we should have.
Yeah, but I think as lawyers, we have a larger issue. Forget it's good or bad or what's going to happen. Is a government of India body setting rules that are unconstitutional? And if they are, that needs to stop. Because if you let them do it on one area, they'll do it on second and third, and we will have no society left. We want freedom. Whether we want to advertise or not is another story. So Kamal, for the longest time, I didn't want to do family law. I said, divorces is destructive. I don't want to get involved. One day, 10 years ago, a client called saying, hey, my wife's filed a divorce. Please handle. I said, I don't do divorces. He says, no, I don't know any other lawyer. I'm not going to anyone else. You please handle. Can you stall it? I said, okay, I'll stall it. So I took on that divorce. Priyank says I shouldn't take the divorce because I don't know what I'm doing. So I said, okay, fine, I will handle the divorce. In doing that one divorce, Kamal, I realized that the opposing counsel was an idiot. Rule number one. Rule number two, divorce was 1/3 accounting and taxes. And I'm a CPA as well. And I'm like, wow, this is easy. You're splitting up money. 1/3 of divorce was psychotherapy and being good with the person who's calling. And the other 1/3 was mediation and settlement. Law was 1%. And I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a minute. We're so good with mediation settlement, with accounting taxes and good bedside manner psychotherapy. We'll do divorces. Now we do 100 divorces. Now I do what I call CEO divorces. If you're rich, I'll do your divorce. But if I'd listened to Priyank, that I'm not good with divorces, I would have never taken that case. So give me the freedom. Now I advertise. We do family law if you're rich. So, give people a freedom too.
Totally.
Now,
You know what?
now
you
you gave me one
thing-
more option now to explore.
Yeah,
you
what,
guys,
Priyank? I'm shocked that how will you know you're good or not at a law?
I think if you
What's
spend
stopping
some
you
more time
from?
with, I think if you spend some more time with Mr. Chug, we are going to change the way we practice.
Absolutely. You know what? He is the founder of Indian Law Association. I'm so glad we are working under his mentorship and guidance to bring a reform and a revolution in the country as far as the law is concerned. And we are very excited about it. That's what talking to all of you. So you know what? What I figured out is lawyers are dying to advertise. Okay, they're dying. They wanted to advertise yesterday all over. Even though Palvi is not supporting it, but she is disseminating information. I would not call it ads. But I want to ask all of you now, like one by one. Let's say Ankita first. Ankita, one thing that we can do that will help lawyers do ads. One thing. What do you think we should do? Like, what should we do? One point from all of you that will help us advertise. I'm gonna make note and we're gonna circulate it. Okay, so let's the outcome of the meeting. What should lawyers do to advertise to get this advertised legally, or to make it a revolution or make it a movement where lawyers will advertise, not allowed to advertise? What should lawyers do? How to make noise? How do we get heard? What's your point on that? One
Amit,
point, and then I will move.
Yeah, we are already in the evolution stage. LinkedIn is the best place where everyone has come up, they're speaking up, they're making connections, they're making their networks. So LinkedIn is that revolution already which has started. Now it is the fact that we all have to admit the fact that yes, we are doing it. We are just ignoring, and we have to be very acceptant that yes, this is something we should really need it. And I'm again saying the conception of paid ads and non-paid ads is a personal choice of everyone. We are the people who are not doing any paid ads, right? There would be people who are doing it. There are big law firms who are doing it nationally and internationally. So now it is high time to accept it and be a part of that revolution and speak about it. So now we should not shy about it. And if there's any matter or anything comes, or if ILA brings up this thing to the judges or to the associations, then all our lawyers should understand we are not talking about a narrow perspective. It's a wider perspective, not only for us, but the generations which are coming and the people who are working with us. So it is a revolution which should come.
Wonderful, wonderful. So Ankita is saying admit. Pehle mano कि तुम कर रहे हो advertise. Okay. Just because you're not paying doesn't mean you're not advertising.
Correct.
Okay, that's because you're not paying doesn't mean not advertising. Okay, wonderful. Please admit. So I admit that I do advertise. Okay, I admit.
I do admit.
I raise. I do advertise. I raise my hand and say I admit.
I admit. Yes, I do advertise.
I admit. So Robin, over to you. What do you think we should do next?
I think we should reach out to law ministry. We have a very dynamic law minister right now. We should all make a representation to him, and probably this is the best time where we bring out this reform, and we should pave the way for the future generation.
Reach out to a law minister. All right. Second point. Wonderful. Thank you. Ronak, what do you think we can do to get this thing out of our way? Get this hurdle out of our way?
I have a two-folded answer. The first one is this, that irrespective of the fact that this is one of the oldest profession, the inherent principle is this, it's based on trust. So any kind of message that we send across should only create trust between us and a potential litigant. For that, you can leverage technology like LinkedIn or whatever, right? You can probably attend more social meetings or something where you can talk about yourself. So anything that emits trust, that okay, you can trust me with your matter and I will handle it, the rest will be done. I think that should be the way to advertise.
Okay, wonderful. Dr. Rajesh, you didn't get a chance to speak. Dr. Rajesh, are you for the topic or against the topic? You want lawyers to advertise, not advertise? Dr. Rajesh Mitti.
Yeah, I think
you're joining from two devices, so perhaps that's the issue.
yes, one of my junior is also.
Yeah, so I guess you got to use their mic. You can't unmute yourself. All right. Mehma, what do you think we can do to get this hurdle out of our way?
I think we should have young lawyers, upcoming lawyers together, have them come together and approach the Bar Council and try to explain to them and motivate the youngsters to join the Bar Council and bring this new change and have a new perspective.
Young is the answer. Navneet, they're pointing at you.
Of course.
Palvi, I know all the against topic, but I would still want a recommendation.
I couldn't get you, Amit, sorry.
I'm saying although you're against the topic, but I would still want a recommendation. What should lawyers do to get this hurdle out of the way? If you were my lawyer, I hire you, Palvi, please let's do a PI in Supreme Court. And I want to fight that. I've been debarred.
Yeah, I want to ask, what is the definition of young lawyer?
It's definitely not me, I'm sure.
Yeah, so somebody, Mr. Mehti, go to unmute. Please don't unmute yourself. I think there's too much echo yourself. Thanks. So young is somebody who has the energy and the enthusiasm to keep moving forward. Okay, that's the definition of young.
I think whoever is working in this profession are all young. If they can manage to fight for someone, they are young.
Absolutely.
Right?
One more definition. Yes. So yes, Palvi. So yes, what recommendation would you give me if I'm your client and I want to get rid of this stupid law?
I think Pallavi will say, follow me on LinkedIn.
No, never. I've never said that to anybody ever in my life. Thankfully, people just follow by themselves. And I hope that sometimes I actually basically share my experience so that, I know the problems that I face that someone else might not be able to face that. However, coming to your point, if you were my client and an advocate, I would say that file a petition in person PIL instead of hiring me. That's one. Second, I would say that, if you look at it, 19(1)(g) doesn't say anything about professing about your profession. It only says that you have the right to practice your profession. So there's a distinction. Now, then you have to, I would suggest that file a writ petition and then see if their lordships would entertain such a petition, which I doubt they will because, there is this quote by Justice Krishna Iyer, I think, where he speaks about how this profession has evolved. Now, a lot of people might not agree with Justice Krishna Iyer, but I think one of the doyens of the Indian law, he has been someone who has brought about that the tradition which has always been there. I was reading a book very recently. It's about a case which took place sometimes in 1930s, which was a Khwaja Nazir case. Now, this case has nothing to do with advertising, etc. It was about how courts actually functioned in 1930s. And if you read that book, I would strongly recommend everybody, especially anybody who's on a civil side, to understand how decrees are executed, etc. And that book, while I was reading it, I could actually realize that after 80 years of that case, actually, the courts still function in exactly the same manner as has been written about how that case took place in the 1930s. Even now, we have the same terminologies that are being used to address their lordships. It is even now that the CPC remains the same. Your Order 41 remains the same. Your Order 7, Rule 11 remains the same. everything in that sense is quite the same as it used to be. Now, if you, like Ronak said, and I completely agree with him, if you have to bring about any change, you have to change the entire ecosystem. And for that, a lot of old guards will have to give up in the way that they think. And that, that would require a lot of effort, which I don't think that people are, not in my lifetime. I don't think that I will be able to see that kind of a change happening, at least in my lifetime. However, having said that, if anyone wants to advertise and wants to go ahead, I think one gentleman just mentioned about sending a representation to the Honorable Law Minister. I think that's a very good idea because he is a lawyer. He is from LawFac. He understands, and as a matter of fact, I was in an event where I met him, and he was saying that I'm very keen on hearing from the lawyers as to what are the problems that they are facing, and if there is something that I can do to bring about that change. So I think ILA as an association can definitely take it up with him and explain to him
Pallavi,
that yeah.
Pallavi, I have a question.
Yeah.
Indian Advocates Act Section 49 prohibits lawyers from advertising. My question to you is that section unconstitutional because it's a restraint on trade?
It's not. If you see, it is not restraining you from practicing your profession. It is restraining you from advertising for what you're practicing. So there is
It's
that
a restraint on your trade, right?
Not really on your trade, because you're not. It is only a restraint on advertising. It's not a restraint on me practicing my profession. Nobody stops me from practicing. Tomorrow, let's say, for instance, there have been so many instances, and I'm sure a lot of practicing lawyers they would know.
So, Pallavi, if suppose tomorrow Coke or Colgate, there's a law which says Coke cannot advertise. Is there not a restraint on the trade?
No, it's not, because it's only on advertising. See, try and understand the definitions are different.
No.
You're talking
So I'm
about
saying
advertising in one sense, and the other sense you're talking about
Actually, legal practice is not an ownership. Sorry. Actually, legal practice is not an ownership of the practitioner. And Coke, if you are talking about Coke, then Coke has its own ownership and company has its own title of it. But as an advocate, we are just, I think, a kind of intermediary between the laws and the clients. So we are not like same footing like Coke. The legal profession is something different. If you are working under a corporate firm, then it doesn't mean that lawyer is like a Coke. And one thing more is fiduciary relationship. Fiduciary relationship is the key of a legal profession, and it is an individual in nature. It cannot be corporate. You cannot be in fiduciary relationship with a corporate firm. You are in fiduciary relationship with a lawyer, in an individual. So the nature of legal profession is such that it cannot be advertised, because we are not the owners of our profession. We are just a kind of agent, you can say, or an intermediary, and we are facilitating the state in a way. And as I think many senior lawyers say, that we have to keep balance between individual interest of the court. We are called as an officer of the court, and in the interest of the client. We have to find balance, and that is the Abhishek Manu Singh, I think, quote that 4 balances, like individual, financial, client, and court.
No, I think that's Ram Jethmalani who said.
Yeah.
Sure. Abhinav, you raised your hand quite long back. Over to you. One thing that lawyers can do to get the hurdle out of the way.
I think one of the biggest things that we can learn from a comparative study, if we see the US law, the UK law, and even the current very recent CCBE of 2006 that has been passed in the European Union, is that everywhere they have allowed the lawyers to advertise, but with one very important caveat, and that is it should not be misleading and it should be accurate. So we should come up to this particular argument that yes, we are advertising it, but we should not call ourselves as an expert. I should not call myself as a divorce expert, divorce lawyer. I should not call myself as a person who is an expert in the international law field. That is the one thing, and we have to make a very important harmonious construction between a lex generis law like Constitution and a lex specialis law like Advocates Act and Competition Act. So how to maintain that harmonious construction? By specifically referring to these terms, that is conduct. When we're talking about conduct, we always have to think of one thing, and that is a regulatory body. So if we have a regulatory body, and also if I'm sure all of you must be aware of the Raghavan committee, which talked about that how advertisement might promote monopolistic practices and the trade. So how to refrain from that? We can come up with a very important, argument on an agreement. We can say we can come up with a conjoint agreement where there is a harmonious construction and harmony between all these three set of laws. And then I think there won't be any issues in a lawyer advertising himself. And we are doing that through social media.
Abhinav, I've got good news for you. So lawyers have been able to advertise for the last 60, 70 years in about 50 countries in the planet. And the studies have shown that it actually created the reverse of monopolies. It actually leveled the playing field. And what the most shocking thing was, large law firms in all these countries never advertised because they don't want the kind of clients you get from advertisements. And so it's only the small, the upcoming, the new, the medium-sized law firms that benefited from advertising because they could handle the kind of clients that advertisement generates. So Dr.
Wonderful.
Methi,
Beautiful. Beautiful. Yeah. That's great.
Thank you, Chuk sir. Thanks a lot. First of all, salute to ILA to choose this emerging area of discussion. Just, I would like to ask one question to Navneet sir. After the live telecasting, the system of advocacy will be changed. So as that, when you are making an advertisement in the market, just like you are telling about the monopoly and some other things. So in my opinion, it is a need of the hours. We have to be discussed. We have to develop a discourse on this one. And just we are talking about the adopting some methodology or modus operandi to contact the law minister or to put the PIL or anything else. So in my opinion, there should be a possibility of advertisement with some standard. And just like that, one of my our speaker told about that one regulatory authority. So that should be a part of that one, because we people are from the Jaipur and we are working on decolonization of law. So we have started to discuss about that one. So I have seen this one advertisement on LinkedIn and it was very much catchy. But today I am not with any preparation, so I am unable to say a lot of things more about this. Over to moderate.
The wonderful thing he said, the reason we were able to get about 100 to 200 registrations and on YouTube, on all of you here, because you could add or disseminate information on LinkedIn. And that's why we're able to discuss this. Over to you, Prank, your thoughts on this.
Yeah, sure. I mean, see, when we discuss this topic as well, should we take it up as a topic to discuss? One thing which came very clear and evident is that all the lawyers do advertise in one form or the another, right? So I agree with Ankita. Yes, I do advertise. Everybody has their website. What Bar Council of India said, put a disclaimer. Who even reads that disclaimer, right? You have the font of your close button bigger than the disclaimer font. What's the point? I mean, you just want to have rules for the sake of it. I mean, just remove it. That's simple. Make life easier of everybody. And then, I mean, again, reiterating the fact, how to overcome this or abolish this point is, of course, by making a massive movement, taking a massive action. And as an ILA vice president, that is something which we have already taken up. We would be writing to the law minister, writing to the Bar Council's heads as well to take this off, because this will make the life of people easy. It will make people easily identify who to go and whether to trust or not. One point, Pallavi, you mentioned that whenever a client comes to you or whenever somebody comes to you, they can easily Google upon your name, your judgment, what has happened, right? when it comes to advertisement or when it comes to marketing, one of the simple thing is make life easier of your end consumer. So if, let's say, those judgments are, let's say, hyperlinked directly on your website or any of the pages, it will make life of everybody easy. They can just come
Correct.
to
I'm
recent
sure it
judgment,
will,
recent judgments, right?
you know,
So that can happen for everyone.
I have realized one thing, which I don't know, one of the panelists also mentioned, which is that, you know, the moment you are advertising something, you know, litigant thinks that no, okay, this person is not good. That's why that person is advertising. You realize that I have also faced that so many times, because a lot of people come to me and say, you should post less on LinkedIn, you should post less on Instagram, because people don't take you seriously. They think you are just, you know, fly by night operator kind of a lawyer. So, you know, these are also problems that all of us face. I'm not even advertising, and this is what the issue is. Just as
But I think,
everything will
Pallavi,
have.
sorry to interrupt you, but I think that's one of the reasons, because we are not, all of us are not doing it. So that's why that impression might
That's
be
correct. So therefore, so what happens tomorrow, even if, let's assume for a minute that advertising comes into play and we are all coming up with their full page advertisement on the front page saying, oh, I won this judgment and what accolades should be following upon me. What's going to happen is a lot of people will say, oh, this person is not serious, he's got money and that's fine. You know how it is with how there is this whole entire discussion that happens in corridors. Oh, that judge's son is doing this, that person's daughter is doing that, that second generation, third generation. You know, you are part of the profession. I'm sure you would have seen that. So all of these things are actually the realities that we face. You know, even if we are talking about things which I, for one, would see, like you said, rigidities should be done away with. But nonetheless, I see it from a practical aspect. I feel that, you know, all of this will come up with a lot of backlash as well. But however, I support ILA on taking up these.
I'll just
see.
answer
It's a
this.
mindset shift. It's a mindset shift. When internet companies came together back in early 2000s, everybody said these are just one of the thing. I mean, it's not going to last. But see, today we are all talking to each other across the country because of internet, right? So the mindsets will change. Of course, there will be lot of resistance. A lot of people would be commenting very bad things about us. People would be bullying us and whatnot. But
correct. I mean, if you look at it, if you look at live streaming just now, if you look at
in the interest of time,
I'll just add a small thing, Amit, out here.
Yes,
a very small thing.
Point from you, Ankita, last point from you.
Yeah, this is the last point. But to end the session also, we lawyers who are sitting here, it's not a thing that nobody has bullied us. Everyone, and being a female, we face these issues on a daily basis, and we are bullied for various reasons. You look beautiful, then you got the judgment. Your girls are only made to send to the court because they know how to take a adjournment from the judge. They've been bullied every time, every day. My mom said only one thing to me, that because I used to come, you used to cry. I used to cry a lot. What is this happening? I did really well in my law school. I'm doing really well in my this thing. And why not males are being, because that issue comes with every new generation lawyer. Why not males are being targeted like this? Why they don't have to, you know, before going to the court, they have to go through that passage of being evaluated for every moment, what she's wearing, what she's doing. She's wearing big earrings, she's getting a red purse, she's doing. Every time this happens, everywhere, every institution, every corporation. But the only thing we really need to understand is, कुछ तो लोग कहेंगे, उनका काम है कहना, right? And अगर हम लोग ही रुक गए, तो जो लोग हम पे भरोसा करके बैठे हैं, हम उनके लिए क्या बात करें? So for us, it is very important. And what Ronak said, a lot of the people are not doing it because they don't feel like doing it. So they will come and they'll say, Pallavi, why you are there on LinkedIn? It is a negative image. But I'm telling you, most of the lawyers are getting the business from LinkedIn. I have been approached by ILA through LinkedIn. You know, we are getting connections through LinkedIn. So there's nothing bad. Everyone is doing it. And we should not ashamed for what we are doing, because we are not doing any kind of negative publicity. We are just getting the facts in front. We are telling people what is right and wrong. And we should, all lawyers, join hands and just do this, so that at least people who are just backing us have confidence on the legal system. Otherwise, in 2020, I'm not talking about era of 30 people had faith in institutions, in Supreme Court, judges. But now they're losing faith. They're just not coming up, right? Why? This is the biggest reason why they're losing faith, because we are not trusting ourselves what we are doing is right or wrong. So that is the conclusion I want to give.
Ankita, we're looking for a president of ILA for our ILA Chandigarh chapter. Can I
Okay.
congratulate you?
Oh, thank you, sir. Thank you so
All
much.
right. You hereby
Thank you.
appointed president. Is that
I-
okay, Amit?
I agree with Ankita. Totally agree with
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. Oh, Navneet, you want to
My
conclude?
pleasure, sir.
No, very happy. We had a lively discussion, and it's okay if some people are in favor or they're not okay. But I think we are the protectors of freedom in the country. Democracy dies in the dark, and we have to make sure that the laws of the country are not unconstitutional. And whether or not they are is a discussion we should always be having. And so I'm glad all of you joined. Let's carry on the fight. Jane Fonda used to say that live your life as if you were in a revolution on a daily basis. I believe something outlandish. I think we got political freedom in 47 and economic freedom in 91 with liberalization. India will only become a first world nation if the next revolution comes from us lawyers. We have not done our share and we need to step it up. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you so
More
much.
power to
Navneet.
ILA for whatever they're doing.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Rana.
you.
Thank you so much, Rana.
Thanks. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for being a wonderful
you,
panel.
everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank
I'll
you,
connect with all
everyone.
of you on LinkedIn, okay?
Thanks, Atan.
Yes, see?
See you guys.
Advertisement.
Bye,
Madhur
guys.
Ankita is
Bye.
president of ILA Chandigarh. Please talk to her.